Alright guys, so we have our domain and hosting. We installed WordPress. We downloaded and installed the Flatsum theme. Now we're going to create our awesome e-commerce website. Are you ready? Let's get started. Alright guys, now that we've installed our theme, it's time to start creating pages. There are two ways to do this. We can come up to the top menu where it says New and click Page, or we can come over here, go back to the dashboard, come down to where it says Pages and click Add New. And here's where we're going to add a page. The first page we're going to add is the home page. Now, if you want to have a full width page, which I do, there's an easy way to do that. If you come down here where it says Page Attributes and then Template, click here and you can click Page Full Width. And you can see there are many other types of templates you can have, like a left sidebar, right sidebar, but I'm going to choose Full Width. And then once you're done, click the Publish button. And this publishes the page. So now we're going to come up here and click Add New. And now we're going to create the About page. Come down here, Page Full Width, click Publish. Next we'll create the blog page. I'm going to make it full width and click Publish. And finally, we're going to create the contact page. And publish. Okay. So now if I go back to the site, you can see it says Assign a menu in theme options. So we don't have our pages in the menu yet because we have to create a menu and then assign our pages to the menu. So we'll come back here to the dashboard. We'll come down to Appearance and we'll click Menus. And here's where we create all your menus. So the first thing we need to do is give our menu a name, and I'm just going to name my main menu. And after you name it, click Create Menu. And now what we need to do is assign the pages to the menu. So if we come over here where it says Pages, click View All, and then Select All. Selects all our pages that we made, and we'll click Add to Menu. Now you can see there's two home pages. And the reason for that is whenever you install WordPress, by default it creates a custom link homepage. And a custom link is, if I open this here, let's say I give it the navigation label our other website, and then I would put the URL of the other website, and then people could click there and it would take them to our other website. We don't need that, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And now we have all our pages that we created. Now the problem is I don't want my home page last in the menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and just drag this up to the top. And now this will be the order that our items are in the menu. So the home page will be first, About, Blog, and then Contact. Down here, Menu Settings, we want to create the display location. So since this is the main menu that's going to be at the top of the page, I'm going to click Main Menu and then Save Menu. And now if I go back to the page, you can see our menu right at the top. Now let's say you want to have a sub-menu where if you hover over one of these items, a other menu would show up underneath. I'll show you how to do that real quick. We'll go back to the dashboard, back to Appearance, Menus. To do that, all you have to do is drag one of your pages inward, and you see it creates that guideline, let go, and now it's a sub item, which is a sub menu. Click Save Menu, and now if I go back here, you can see the home has a down arrow next to it, and if I hover over it, it creates a sub menu, and there's the About page. So I'm going to go back and put that back the way it was. Just drag it over. Save the menu again, and I'll go ahead and close this and refresh the page, and there we go. Now next thing we need to do is we have to assign our home page. So we'll come up here to where it says Customize. We'll click that, and this is the theme customizer. Every WordPress theme that you install has its own theme customizer, just like this. Each customizer, each theme, it might have different items in the customizer menu, but they're all going to have a customizer. So what we need to do is come down here to homepage settings. We'll click that. And where it says your homepage displays, we're going to choose a static page. And now we need to assign a page for the homepage. So obviously we're going to assign the homepage that we created. And now for the post page, this is going to be the page that displays all our blog posts that we create. So we're going to choose the blog page. And now what we're going to do is click publish. And now our changes have taken effect. So we'll close this by clicking the X. And now you can see the home page, the link is dark because we're on the home page. And if I go to the blog page, this is the default WordPress sample blog. It comes with every WordPress installation. So this is where all our blogs are going to show up, our blog posts. But we're going to go back to the home page because it's time to start creating our home page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I have my website that I already designed for this theme, and I'm going to use that as a guideline. So I'll go back and forth between my two monitors here. You might see my cursor come off the screen. And what we're going to do first is we're going to come up here and where it says edit page, we're going to click edit with UX Builder. All right, guys, so this is the UX Builder. This is where all the magic happens. It's a front-end builder, drag and drop, and it's really cool because it allows you to see the changes you make to your page in real time. As you can see, they have a lot of templates here you can choose from, and these are pretty much pre-made pages. So if you wanted to, you could just import any of these templates here, and you would have a home page ready to go, and all you would have to do is change the images and the text to what your shop would be. So pretty neat, makes things easier. But obviously, I'm going to show you how to make a home page out of scratch. If we come over here, this is where the menu is. This is where you can see all your elements. And remember when we created the pages, we made the page template full width. If we come up here and click the gear icon, you can actually do that in the UX Builder. See where it says template, and you can see it's set to page full width. Click that, and we could go back to the default template, or we could choose any of these other page settings. So I'm going to keep it on full width, of course. And we'll click this arrow to go back to the menu. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a slider, but if we click add elements here, you can see we have the layout elements, all these here. And if I scroll down here, we have the content elements. We have all these to choose from. I would just click it and then it would appear on the page where it says add elements. First, I want to show you the Flatsum Studio. The great thing about this theme is it comes with tons of pre-made templates and pre-made page layouts. And they're all really designed really well, very professional. So if I come down here to e-commerce, I just want to show you some of these pre-made pages. And they look really nice. And if you hover over one, it'll highlight it. And if you press the preview button, you can see what it looks like. So I just want to find one here. Let's check this one out here. So I'll click preview. And it opens up in a new page. And you can see what the page will look like if you import this layout. It looks really clean, really nicely done. Have our buttons and everything ready to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, and I'm going to go ahead and import that because I just want to show you guys how easy this is. And yes, I want to import the images, so I'll click Start. See, it says full page e-commerce minimal. And there we go. It's that easy. And you can see over here on the left, these are all the different elements that are ready to go because it's pre-made. So if I click banner, this is the banner here. This is a text box. I could go ahead and go to Open Text Editor, and I could just change this. You could delete that, type in oops. I don't know if I take caps lock off. You know, something like that. Press OK. Go back. And I could go on to the next section. Change this, whatever I wanted to. Change the images. And that's how easy it is. And if I go ahead and update that, you always want to update. This is what actually makes the actual changes on the front end of the page. And I can click the X here and it'll take us to the front end of the page. And there we go. Now it says Super Sale. And we have a home page already, all ready to go. So that's how easy it is to use the Flatsum Studio pre-made pages. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the UX Builder. And let's say I want to build a page from scratch. I don't want this. It's easy to erase this. All you have to do is click the gear icon. Come down here and where it says Clear Post Content, click Clear. Click OK. And there we go. We're right back to where we were. And I'll go ahead and go back to the menu. And that's how easy it is. Go ahead and update that. Okay guys, now what I want to do is I want to add a slider to the top of our home page. So to do that, we'll come up here and we'll click Add Elements. And in the search box, I'm just going to start to type slider. And you can see it shows up, so we'll click slider. And these are all the slider controls here. The great thing about Flatsum is these elements, they mainly have the same settings. So you'll be able to pick this up really quick. I'm going to come back to this later. First, I want to add our first slider. So I'll click the arrow here. And we'll click Add to Slider. And I'm going to add a banner. And these are all the banners that Flatsum provides. They have really nice designs. See, they're really clean, professional looking. The one I'm going to use for the first slide is this huge sale banner. So I'm going to go ahead and click Apply. And here are all the banner settings here. Now, I like this blue background, but what I want to do is I want to make it a video background. I'm going to show you guys how to have a video slide as well as an image slide. So to do that, we'll come down here and I just want to show you this real quick where it says video. You can actually have a YouTube video for your background. You just put in the video ID. You can upload a MP4 video, OGG video, or WebM video. I'm going to use an MP4 video. So to do that, I'll have to upload it to the video library first. So I'm going to come down here and click Apply. And this applies our banner. And I'll click Update. Always make sure you click the Update button, otherwise your changes won't be saved. So I'm going to go ahead and click this X. And this takes us to the front of the web page. So we'll come up here and we'll go to Dashboard. And once we're on the dashboard, we'll come down to Media. And we'll click Library. And this is your media library. This is where all your images and your videos are going to be stored for your website. So to add our video slide, we'll come up here and we'll click Add New. We'll click Select Files. And this is the folder that holds all our resources. I actually have a link in the video description where you can download this folder. This has all our text, images, and videos. So we'll click Flatsum Course, Homepage, Homepage with Images, Top Slider, Slider Video, and I'm going to upload the edited version. So I'll select that and click Open. And while that's uploading, I just want to show you some great places to get some high quality images and videos. The first one is Pixabay. And you can see all these images are high resolution and they're actually all free, guys. And you can use them on both personal and commercial projects without having to worry about copyright infringement. And if you want videos, just click Videos. Here you can search for different videos here. And down here you can see all these videos are either HD or 4K. And just hover over a video and it'll start to play. Really nice. Have all these nice videos here. Another one is Pexels, and this is actually where I got the video for our slide. So I'll go there. And just make sure you click Videos. And I believe it's right here. Again, if you hover over a video, it'll start to play. And then you can play it here. And you would just download it up here. You click this arrow and you can choose which version you want. HD, SD, which size. And you can see it's free. Another one is Unsplash. They have some really beautiful images. Vidizi has some really nice videos as well. And they're all free. Well, they're not all free. The ones that have this pro banner, you actually have to pay for. But the ones that don't are free. And I just want to show you something real quick. If I go back here and play this video, if I go to the end here, you can see it has the guy who did the video. Well, I don't want that in my slider. So what I would have to do is come over here to Online Video Cutter. This is free. And I could choose the original version. upload it. And what this will allow me to do is allow me to edit this video for free. Some really easy, quick edits. So back here you can see this is where I want to get rid of this part. And if I play, I can drag this actually and edit the video. So this is the beginning, where the beginning of the video would be. And over here, if I click and drag this, this will be to where I want the end of the video to be. So let's say I wanted to start from here to there. Then all I have to do is click save. And it's making the edits right now. And now you can see it's done. So I just press download. And I can take it to Dropbox or Google Drive. I'm just going to click download though. And you can see it's downloading right onto my computer. And that's actually how I edited this video for the slide. So I'm going to go ahead and click that off, and I'll click these off as well. Get rid of these. And you can see our video has uploaded onto our media library. And now what I need to do is, where it says copy link, I'm just going to highlight this link, right click and copy. I'll close this. We'll go back to visit site, edit page, we'll go to UX Builder, and we'll go to our banner. You can just double click it and it'll open the banner. And we'll come down here to the video menu. And now I'm just going to, where it says video MP4, I'm going to right click and paste. And voila, we have our video slide. Beautiful. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change some settings here. First is the admin label. So all this does is it names your element. So I'm going to call this video slide. And if I go back here, you can see it has a name now, video slide. Next is the size, the height. So you have auto, you have full, this is good for full screen. It actually goes a little bit past full screen. I'm going to show you how to fix that. 16:9, 1:2 ratio, and 1:1 ratio. So I'm going to go to 16:9, but I'm going to change this percentage to 47%, and that's actually perfectly full screen on a 24-inch monitor here. Next we have slide effects here. We can have fade in. I don't think these work for video, so I'm going to skip these. I'll show you these when I do the image slide. Here you could have a background image, which is for images as well. It's not going to work for this. Overlay. These are all for images. I believe we can add a border. Yes, we can add a border. So if you see this white line here, here, down here, and here, these all correspond to the different sides of your slide. So you can see this white line is at the top. That's for the top border here. So if you just click and slide this to the left, it decreases the border. Slide to the right and it increases. And you can also type in a number. So I could give this all 10 pixels all the way around. Oops. There we go. And what we could do here is, the only thing about this is I don't really like a border, but the cool thing is what you can do is where it says style, you can change this to dashed or dotted. And for some reason this, there we go. It's just not showing the whole thing. And we can even change the radius. So you can see we have rounded corners now. It's okay. It's kind of cool. I'm not a big fan of it. This would be good for like a different element if you want to create a coupon for your page. This kind of looks like a coupon cutout. So I'm going to go with solid, and if you click the X, this takes us right back to default and gets rid of all the values there. Link, you can add a link. Here's video again. Sound, I would leave it disabled. You can add sound. If your video has sound, you could enable it. It would play. Loop, this just keeps playing the video over and over again, which is what I want. Otherwise, you can have no loop. It would play the video once and then stop. And we'll get into visibility later on when we do optimizing for mobile. So make sure you click Apply and Update. You always want to update your changes. And if we click the X here, we can see our slider so far on the front. Looks nice. So let's go back to UX Builder and we'll add an image slide. So we'll click Add to Slider. And I'm going to add another banner. But this time I'm going to choose this box left banner here. That looks good. So I'll click Apply. Next one I'm going to do is name the banner. And I'm going to add a background image. So I'll go to Background, Image, and click Select Media. Click Select Files. I'm going to choose this image here, which is in our website folder. Click Open. And you can see it's uploading the image. Once your image is uploaded, come down to the right and click Use this image. Now you can see our image is cut off. That's because we need to change the layout height. So I'm going to go to 16:9. And again, I'm going to click and just drag to the left and move this down to 47%. There we go. Now you can see the top of his head is still cut off. So if we come down to background and click and drag the circle, wherever I drag the circle, it's going to show that part of the image. So I'm going to drag it up to here so we can see the top part of the image. There we go. And you can see position, it changed position here when I change the circle, when I move the circle around. So the first percentage is left and right, and the second percentage is up and down. So I'm going to keep it there. Next size, you want to keep this on original. If I choose medium, you can see it'll get really pixelated and blurry. Just looks terrible. So you want to make sure this is on original. Background color, because I have a background image, we don't have a background color, you're not going to see it. But if you want to change it, let's say you didn't have an image and you wanted to change the background color, you would just use the color palette here. I'm going to cancel that. Overlay. This is good if, let's say we had some white text here on top of this white background and it would be real hard to see. We can add an overlay and this will actually darken the background image because the overlay color is on top of the image. And if I move this slider to the right, you can see the color becomes more opaque until you can't see the image at all. And that way our white text would stand out on top of the background image. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because this looks fine. Hover, these are hover effects. So if I choose zoom, when I hover the mouse over top of the image, it'll zoom in. And you also have hover alt. And what this is this is before you hover the effect you want. So if I choose, let's say glow, actually you can't see anything there. Let's try fade in. You can see it's already faded. So if I hover, the fade in will disappear and the zoom in will start. And then when I bring it away, the zoom in goes out and the fade in comes in. So if you have, if you don't set a hover, you're not going to have a hover alt. So I'm going to choose this. I'm not going to go through all these. You can play with these on your own. Otherwise, this video will be too long. I'm going to bring this back to none and bring this back to none. And you can see hover alt disappears. Parallax, I'm not going to go through that yet. I'll go through that a little later. Because the page isn't long enough, it's not even going to, we're not even going to be able to see that effect yet. So let's scroll down here. Effects. We have different effects here. You can have snow. That's good for like a winter sail. Confetti. That's really cool. That's a nice effect if you have a huge sail. Somebody that I don't like sliding glass. I'm not a big fan of that. Sparkle's okay. But rain, I don't know. I don't really like that. I'm going to have no effect. Again, you can create a border just like we did with the video. So we could change this to, 27. You can see the border ends up here. And then we could choose different border types. Dotted, dashed. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. link, you could link this image to a different page. Again, here the video, you could add a video instead of an image. And excuse me, don't worry about visibility. I'm going to go through that a little bit later. That's good for mobile optimization when you optimize this for mobile phones and tablet. We'll do that later on in the video. So those are all the banner menu items, different settings. I'm going to go ahead and click apply and update. Make sure you click update so that your changes are updated. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up and open this as well. And you can see we have the text box. And when I hover over the text box, you can see it activates this, and then the text, the buttons as well. You can also just click on the text box and it'll take you to that menu. So for the text box, we had normal, square, circle. I'm going to go back to normal. You can change the text color. You can see it's set to dark. I could change it to light and make this text box dark, and then the light text would show up. Again, we have hover effects. So zoom in. It'll bounce when you hover over it. That's pretty cool. You can change the width. Just click and drag this to the left to make it thinner, to the right to make it wider. I'm going to bring it back to 40%. And scale, same thing. You can scale it larger. The text becomes larger as well. Smaller. I'm going to bring this back to 100%. By the way, you can use your up and down arrows on your keyboard to change the values here. Makes it a little bit easier. Margin. Margin is the space outside of your element. Padding is the space inside your element. So this is the padding here, the space between the text and the buttons and the edge of the box. And margin is the space outside the box. So let's say I wanted to drag this box to the right. I could click and hold this cross here and just drag it to where I want it, which is really easy. And if I put it here, you can see the blue line, it shows it centered on the image. Let me open this up again. Or what I could do is I could use margin, and if I click and drag this, you can see this controls the top margin. That's why this white line's at the top. Here's the left margin, the white line is on the right margin, the white line's on the right. Bottom margin, the white line's on the bottom, and left margin. So if I increase this, it's going to increase margin at the top, and therefore it's going to push this element lower. If I decrease it, it's going to decrease the margin at the top, and it goes up. So let's say I want to, I'm going to change this to 0. Let's say I want this box to be further over to the left here. What I can do is on the right margin, I can decrease it like that, and it'll come further to the left. I'm going to put it to 125. That looks good. Minus 125. And the padding, you can increase and decrease the padding. So that would be the space here for the top padding. If I decrease that, you'll see the space between the text and the edge of the box decreases. And same thing with the bottom, the left, and the right. So what I'm going to do is set this to 0 and then just put 30 back into each one. And that takes it back to default. Rotate. You can rotate your text box here all the way around if you want. I'm going to leave it at 0. Animate. You can animate the text box. You're not going to see that because it will only show up on the front of the page. Parallax. Again, you can have parallax effect with the text box. And you can change the position of the text box. You can see it's set to 0 because I moved it over, but you can change this to the right, horizontal position, and you can change the vertical position as well. I'm going to keep it right there. You can change the alignment of the text, center align it. You can align it to the right. I'm going to keep it left aligned. And here you can change the text shadow. There is no shadow right now because it's set to 0, but if I increase this, you can see it gives a shadow underneath the text. Kind of a cool effect. Background. Here we have the background color of the text box. You can change that if we wanted to. And we can change the opacity as well. Go ahead and cancel that. Radius, if you want to make the corners rounded, just increase the radius. See, it rounds the corners. You can even make the whole thing rounded. Depth will change the text box shadow underneath here and around it. So you can increase that shadow by dragging to the right, and it also blurs it as well. It makes the text box look like it's further away from the image, and you can decrease it all the way so you have no shadow at all. So I'm going to keep this on 3. That looks good. And depth hover doesn't really do much. And finally we have border width. You can put a border around the inside the text box as well. But I'm not going to do that because I think it looks fine the way it is. And don't worry about advanced classes. That's for like developers if they want to create a class for this element for CSS. So that's the text box. Those are all the text box settings. I'm going to go ahead and apply those settings and update. Now let's change the text inside the text box. So we'll click this arrow here, and here's the text. So we'll double click this, and now I can change the text inside the text box. So I'm going to open the text editor, and it's kind of hard to see, but as I type, it will actually change the text in real time. So I'm going to delete this and type suit sale. And if I press OK, you can see it changed to suit sale. And you can also change the smaller headline here and the text underneath. You can see it corresponds here. I could change the heading of this. If I wanted to make it a heading 3, you can see it's smaller now. I'm going to keep it on heading 2. So I'll just highlight that and click heading 2. And you can also choose these other options here. You can see it's already bold, but I can make it italicized, and italicizes the text. And you have these other options here. I'm not going to go through these. You can just play around with them. So once you're ready, you just click OK. And I'm going to apply that and update it. You can change the buttons. So if I double click this, this is the primary button. I could change the text. Say, click here. Just leave it primary though. You can change the letter casing. Layout, you can change the color of the button. It's set to the primary color. We change it to secondary, which is orange. Alert is red. Success is green. And you can change it to white. Default, you can have just outline. Simple. Just have an underline. Go through all these: shade, bevel, and gloss. It's kind of hard to see because this is on top, but you can change the size. You can make it smaller, extra large, which is really big. I'm gonna leave it at normal. Again, you could increase the radius to make the corners rounded. Depth, it would add a shadow underneath the button. Expand, you could expand it all the way across the width of the column. You could add an icon in your button. So you want to add a down arrow, and you can change the position of the icon. You can put it on the left. It's really neat. All these different icons you could put on there. Link, you could link your button to a website. I'm just going to add a hashtag here. Actually, I'll link this to my website. Website to wallet.com. And you can have it open in the same window or a new browser window if you wanted. So that's the those are the button settings. Go ahead and apply those settings and update. And the same thing with the secondary button. You would just click this and it will bring up the same exact settings for that button as well. So let's go back to here. I'm going to close that and I'll update that. And let's create our next image, our next slide. So we'll click add the slider and we'll click banner. And this time I'm going to choose this circle banner. Click apply. I'm going to change the name of this to School Kids. Actually, I'll name it Back to School. And I'm going to add my background image. Select files. I'm going to choose this one. And again, once your image is uploaded, come down to the bottom right and click use this image. Next, I'll change the size. So I'll click 69. I'll just click and drag this to the left. Take it down to 47. Next, I'm going to position this image because I don't want his foot cut off so much. So I'll drag the circle and just bring it down, position the image where I want it. That looks good. I'm going to change this to original size. Everything else is good, so I'll click apply. Next, what I want to do is open this up, click twice on text box, and I'm just going to drag this to the right, but you can see that's as far as I can go, and it's still covering this kid over here. So I'm going to drag this up a bit, and I'll go over here to margin, and right margin, I'll just decrease it by clicking and dragging to the left. Position it where I want it. That looks good. Everything else here looks good, so I'll apply that. And I'm going to open this up, and now I'll change the text. So open the text editor. And by the way, I forgot to show you this toolbox toggle. If you click this, it opens up more tools. So let me change this text here. And let's say I want to change the color of this text. I can just highlight it. Click the text color menu, and I could change it to yellow, change any of these colors here. I can even create a custom color by clicking custom, and here I can just drag in the color palette, create any color I want, and click OK, and you can see it adds that color. So I'm going to go ahead and click the undo button until it goes back to white. Perfect. That looks good. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to apply the changes and update. By the way, you can navigate through your slides up here. It'll take you to your slides here just by clicking each one. And also, if you want to see what your web page looks like full screen on the front end, just come down in here and click this left arrow, and now you can see it full screen. It looks nice. And I want to bring the menu back, so I'll click the right arrow now. And it brings the menu back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the slider controls. So I'll come back up here. Click on this twice. It opens a slider menu. So I'm not going to name this anything because we already know it's a slider. We could change the type of slide from slide to fade. And what that does is now if I click this, it fades the slide in instead of sliding it to the right or to the left. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to keep it on slide. We can change the style to container, focus, and that way if I slide through here, it focuses on the center one. And shadow, which makes, it's kind of a cool effect. It makes your slide look like it's kind of like a card on top of a table with a shadow behind it. So if I go back here, each one has a nice shadow. I like the default. So I'm going to go back to default. Slide width, you can change the width here. You can line it to the left, right. I want to keep it center though. Background color, that's not really going to matter because we have an image here. Change the margin. You can see it becomes longer down here. The backspace, change that. Infinite scroll. Take that off. It only goes one. So it stops at the last slide. Same on the first slide. I'm going to keep it on so we can continue through the slide. You have free scroll, draggable. This way they can use their finger to drag the slides one by one. Parallax again. Show for mobile if you want it off. If you don't want your slide on a mobile phone, it won't show up on a mobile phone. I want to leave that on though. Navigation. These are the navigation arrows on each side. So we could have always visible. We could have them turn that on. They're always visible now. I'll leave it off. Position outside instead of inside. Now you can see they're past the edges there. You can change the size. Right now they're set to large. Change it to normal. Actually look the same size though. Arrows, you can turn the arrows off. And now we just have the dots down here. Which for some reason is not working. I'm not sure why. So let's go back here. Let's see. Let's turn the arrows back on. Arrow style, you can have circle, which is what they're on right now. Simple is just the arrow itself. And then reveal, which is kind of this bar with the arrow in it, which I don't really like. So I'm going to go back to circle. Arrow color, you can change the arrow color. Right now it's set to light. Change it to dark. Bullets. These are the bullets down here. We could turn those off and now they disappear. For some reason it's not working when I click on the bullet though. I don't know why. It might be WordPress. That happens sometimes. I'm sure it works on the front end. Let's keep going. Auto slide. Auto slide is the slideshow will go through on its own. So it's already on. If I turn that off, that means that the person has to go through the slides by clicking the arrows themselves. It won't go through automatically. I'm going to keep that on. The timer here is set for 6,000 milliseconds. 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. So it's set for 6 seconds. Each slide will play for 6 seconds before it goes to the next slide. And pause on hover is when that's on. If the visitor hovers their mouse over the slide, it will pause. It won't go to the next slide until they take their mouse off, and then it will go to the next slide. So I'm going to leave that on. So those are all the slider controls. Pretty basic. I'm going to go ahead and apply, update. And there's one more thing I want to do on this first slide. I want to make this text larger. So what I'm going to do is, let's go back here, open this banner up. And let's open the text box. And the scale is set to 100%. Width 67%. I'm going to make this wider. And now I'll make this larger as well. Takes this to, take it to 125%. That looks good. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Again, we could change these buttons if we wanted to. I'm going to leave them like they are. We could change the text if we wanted to change the text, what it says. I like what it says though. Actually, I'm going to change this text here. So let's go click on it. And there we go. I like that better. Okay. Apply that. Update it. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to close this. That looks good. So we're done with our slider. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add a row underneath the slider, and this will show our categories so our visitors can click on the links and go to each shop. We'll have women, men's, and accessories.